When I was reborn as a supporting female character in a romance novel, I was negotiating divorce compensation with the male lead, 50 million to divorce me. Hesitating for even a second would have been disrespectful to the money deal. A flash of shock crossed Lucas Robinson's eyes. As the saying goes, money talks, and I couldn't agree more. In less than an hour, I had erased all traces of myself from the villa, including my very presence. 4 years later, I attended a high society banquet with my son and unexpectedly ran into Lucas. Lucas's eyes burned with anger as he dragged me out of the banquet and threw me into his car. Are you that desperate to become someone else's stepmother? Without a moment's hesitation, I nodded, yes. Lucas leaned in close, his voice whispering by my ear, Lily, you seem to be welcoming me. This fight between Lucas and me nearly pushed us to the brink of divorce, when he heard me ask for money. A flash of shock crossed his eyes, but he quickly averted his gaze. Don't regret it, he said. Whoever regrets is a damn grandson, I retorted defiantly. In less than 10 minutes, my bank account showed a notification of a 50 million deposit. Lucas went to the study. I quickly had someone clean out everything in the villa. Half an hour later, I boarded a plane heading to City G. Before departure, I posted a photo of the airport on my social media with the caption, leaving this heartbroken city. After doing all this, I removed the SIM card from my phone and threw it into the trash. The first thing I did after getting off the plane was to go to the bank and transfer my money to another account. I settled down in a small coastal town on the outskirts of the city. Only after sorting everything out did I finally feel at ease. At first, I couldn't believe that Lucas, my childhood friend I'd grown up sharing everything with, turned out to be just a supporting character. The key protagonist is still Tiffany, whom I particularly dislike, but reality forced me to sober up, so I chose to take the money and run. This departure lasted 4 years. I hadn't even been happy in City G for 4 months before discovering I was pregnant. I didn't have much affection for this unexpected child. Instead, I felt a sense of resistance. Yet, the baby in my womb seemed to have chosen me, surviving even when I was nearly hit by a car and fell hard on the ground. After the car accident, I ultimately decided to keep the child. During this time, I met a runaway groom from a wealthy family, Zane. He prefers men and strongly resists arranged marriages within the family. We gradually became close and turned into inseparable best friends who shared everything. 4 years later, the Owens family encountered trouble. Zane Owens asked me to return and help, offering a reward of 20 million. Just pretend to be his fiancé for me. Over these 4 years, I've completely accepted the fact that I'm just a supporting character. Lucas has probably already married Tiffany by now. After Zane's desperate pleading, I finally agreed to return to the country with him. As soon as I boarded the plane, I noticed the gaze of a man wearing black sunglasses in the premium cabin seemed to be fixed directly on me. Zane, holding the child, asked in confusion, "What's wrong?" "That man keeps staring at mommy," Tommy Owens said in a childish voice. His chubby little hand pointed not far away. Zane frowned. "Do you know him?" I shook my head. "No, I don't." I patted Tommy's little hand. "Tommy, how many times have I told you, it's not polite to point at others?" Tommy shrank his neck, hugged Zane's arm, and whined, "Daddy, mommy scolded me." Actually, Tommy's last name isn't Owens. We rehearsed for almost a week in advance for this acting role. By the time I looked over again, the man wearing sunglasses had already disappeared. It wasn't until after getting off the plane that I realized where that familiar feeling came from. I was on the same flight as Lucas. Lucas was more composed than I had expected, stepping forward directly to greet me. "Long time no see." "Ah, long time no see. This is my husband, Zane, and this is, ex-husband," Lucas interjected before I could finish. As soon as the words left his mouth, he reached out and pinched Tommy's cheek. "Hello there, little guy, your son." Zane nodded and patted Tommy's head. "Tommy, say hello to Uncle." "Hello, Uncle." The moment Tommy spoke, Lucas took off his sunglasses. "Wow, Uncle, you're so handsome, I've seen you online." As soon as Tommy finished speaking, the four fell silent, mainly because Mr. Lucas is so popular. "I often see you trending," Zane spoke up. Our car's here, so we'll head off first." "Goodbye, Uncle." I gave Lucas a slight nod. Only after putting some distance between us did I slowly let out a sigh. "Are you really that afraid of him?" I chuckled. "If you're not scared, Why the hell are your hands shaking? Both Zane and I were terrified of Lucas. Just his aura alone was enough to scare the life out of us. Tommy, on the other hand, remained completely calm, raising his little hand. He piped up in a childish voice, "I'm not scared. That uncle doesn't seem like a bad person." Zane shot me a look. Damn, the power of blood ties. I shrugged my shoulders, expressing helplessness. For convenience. Zane and I lived in the same building, he on the 17th floor, me on the 16th. He helped me carry Tommy home. There's a limit on this card, but take it for now to spend. So much, you've struck it rich. Zane scratched his head. Well, there's just one tiny little thing left. I need a small favor from you. No way. I refused outright, looking at his sly expression. I immediately sensed something was off. Without another word, she immediately tried to close the door. Zane reacted swiftly, sticking his foot in to block it. "Lily, aren't we good sisters anymore? Can't we work this out?" "No." Zane's expression shifted. "I'll pay more. I'll add 2 million. I stopped my hand from closing the door. "What is it?" "At next week's banquet, help me keep an eye on Frank's expressions." Frank is Zane's nominal older brother, the adopted son of Zane's uncle, and the two share no blood relation. Almost no one knows that the two of them once had a fleeting romantic affair. Frank. Why does this name sound so familiar? Zane clasped his hands together. "Can you please help me out?" I raised my hand, just about to tell him to leave, when he suddenly said, "Fine, 5 million it is." Tisk, money sure makes you impressive. Zane and I have been frequently trending on social media since returning to China. Fortunately, the journalists had some conscience and blurred Tommy's face. On the evening of the banquet, Zane and I showed up with Tommy. The entire banquet was exceptionally lively. It was also my first formal introduction to that man named Frank. Frank's face showed no emotion. "Miss Sarah, long time no see." I paused, scanning through my thoughts. This seems to be my first time meeting Frank. Zane watched from afar, wishing he could bore a hole through the back of Frank's head with his gaze. "Miss Sarah, it seems the important people have short memories. We met briefly at your wedding with President Xi," Frank said calmly. I froze for a moment. "Mr. Frank has an excellent memory. Uncle, do you dislike my mom?" Tommy suddenly spoke up. He stared at Frank with a guarded expression. He paused, cleared his throat. "Is he Zane's child?" I nodded. "Doesn't look like him." I was about to speak when Zane eagerly caught up. "Mr. Frank, you're being overly confident, acting as if you know me so well." "Daddy," Tommy cooed, reaching out toward Zane. He picked him up and gently pinched Tommy's cheek. "Good job, protecting mommy." Frank's face darkened. "What are you talking about?" Lucas's voice was cool and deep. Perhaps it was the bond of blood, but Tommy became especially excited the moment he saw Lucas. "Uncle with sunglasses," Tommy spoke up first. "Anyone who didn't know would think he must be President Xi's child," Frank joked half seriously. I didn't stop Lucas from hugging him. Tommy looked extremely happy. Zane and I exchanged glances. "Mr. Frank, you must be joking. Tommy is only 3.5 years old." I deliberately shaved half a year off Tommy's actual age. Lucas looked at me with a probing gaze. After some small talk, Zane carried Tommy to the restroom. Only Lucas and I were left, staring at each other. He asked, "Is he really your child?" I replied, "Tommy is my adopted son. I can't have children." "Lucas, don't you remember? When Lucas and I first got married, we went to the hospital for a checkup, and the diagnosis came back that I couldn't conceive." Later, Lucas and I went to see a traditional Chinese medicine doctor. After half a year of recuperation, there was still no sign of a child, but we ended up getting divorced first. Before we could speak, Tiffany appeared before everyone in a red dress. "Lucas, why didn't you wait for me before coming?" Her tone carried a hint of coquettishness. Her gaze froze when she looked at me. "Sarah, long time no see." Tiffany was the protagonist of this world. She stepped forward and hugged me, overjoyed. "Long time no see. Where have you been all these years? We couldn't find you anywhere." What did they want with me? Suppressing my confusion, I replied, "I wanted a change of scenery." "Oh, you're married." Her gaze fell on my ring finger. "To whom?" "Zane." Tiffany covered her mouth, her face full of disbelief. "You're not joking with me, are you?" I shook my head. "Zane, didn't he dislike women before? I heard he was in a relationship with a man before." but they broke up. About half a year later, he was spotted buying children's clothes at a kid's store. You couldn't be the child's biological mother, could you? No, I'm his stepmother. I've met Zane's ex-wife before. She's a really good person. I said this for Frank, who was holding a drink behind me pretending not to care. Lucas couldn't help but laugh. Sarah, you're something else. Instead of being the respectable Mrs. Lucas, you'd rather be someone's stepmom. At the same time, Tommy appeared. Uncle's sunglasses. What's a stepmom? Gotta say, it's my good son who knows how to assist best. Lucas became utterly sullen, the icy words tumbling out of his mouth one by one. Sarah, uncle, mommy, here. Tommy mimicked the man in a suit standing before him. Frank was even more patient than I had imagined, just glanced indifferently across my face before finally settling on Tommy's. His upright posture made people unable to resist taking a second look when he walked. I never expected Frank to eat so well, I thought to myself. Tiffany was amused by Tommy's adorable appearance and raised her hand to touch him. Zane suddenly appeared, blocking our way. He took the initiative to take the child, speaking gently, I'll handle it, it's time to take our seats. I hummed an agreement and stood by his side. Zane gave them a slight nod. The banquet is about to begin, so we'll take our leave first. Frank stepped forward to block his path. Zane, let's talk. No, Mr. Frank, there's been no connection between us for a long time. Frank gritted his teeth. I can save your Owens family. Sure enough, Zane's footsteps halted. Are you threatening me? Zane said regretfully. It's just a pity that Mr. Frank will miscalculate this time. After speaking, he took my hand and left. After distancing ourselves from them, Zane and I released each other's hands. His palm was damp with sweat, and he unconsciously swallowed before leaning closer to whisper in my ear. That scared me to death. I thought you were exceptionally brave. I teased him, Zane said. Sarah, the pot shouldn't call the kettle black. 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. His blunt words directly exposed the reality of our situation. This is also a fact we have to face. I lifted my eyes and gave him a light glare. Granny, we've already come this far. Don't leave me alone now. Our son, cradled in Zane's arms, found it amusing and immediately imitated, saying in a sweet, childish voice, Don't leave me, I'm so pitiful. Suddenly, we all burst into laughter, yet this very scene was caught by Frank and Lucas, who were just about to approach. The banquet officially began. As the crowd gradually took their seats, Lucas walked past me with an air of composure, the pad of his index finger deliberately brushing against the back of my neck. He knew perfectly well that my neck was a sensitive spot. Lucas was absolutely doing it on purpose. What's wrong? Are you okay? Zane noticed my odd expression and pulled his chair closer. Tommy sat on his lap, blinking his moist eyes as he stared at me. I didn't even dare to look at the man in front of me, giving Zane a reassuring glance. It's fine. This banquet was also Zane's first since returning to the country. He began engaging with the big shots from various circles. Tommy obediently sat by my side until he yawned, reminding me it was time to take him home. I glanced around, searching for Zane's figure. The chair beside me was empty, with no sign of him. I lowered my gaze and sent Zane a WeChat message. I can't find you. I'm heading back first. Me, Tommy, I'm sleepy. Tommy, overcome by drowsiness, simply wrapped his arms around my neck when I scooped him up lazily, fidgeted slightly, and then went back to sleep. It seemed like a habit formed over many years. As soon as we stepped out of the banquet, a gentle breeze swept by. I was just about to drape the coat I had brought with me over him. At first glance, a black peaked lapel suit jacket was draped over Tommy's back. I knew all too well who owned this $1,000,000 garment. I pushed it aside with my hand. Sarah, I'll take you both back. Lucas seemed to have mellowed over the years. I was being so willful, not giving him any face in front of outsiders, yet he didn't get angry. Instead, he forced an awkward smile at me. No need, we've already called a car, I said bluntly. Lucas didn't take offense either and followed beside me. It's hard to get a taxi here. Even if you can hail one, it'll take half an hour to arrive. Aren't you tired? Besides, Sarah, it's just giving you a ride home. Do you think I'm going to eat you or something? I glanced at him sideways. What? President G has taken a liking to someone else's wife now, Lucas said. So what if I have? I was stunned by his answer, frozen in place, feeling that I absolutely couldn't get in the car. I turned around to walk back inside, but the next second, he grabbed me by the collar, and his familiar scent washed over me. The surrounding air was filled with the unique sandalwood fragrance emanating from Lucas. Lucas curled his lips slightly. "Sarah, I'll take you home." "Thank you," I agreed. With a madman like Lucas, I couldn't guarantee what insane things he might do. Things weren't going smoothly with Zane's family for now, and I didn't want to cause him any trouble. I got into the car and gave an address. Lucas was driving, noticeably more steady than before. At first, the car was silent. I held Tommy in the passenger seat. Clearly, he was exhausted to the point that even getting into the car didn't wake him. He just turned over and kept sleeping. "Sarah, why do you want to divorce me?" Lucas suddenly asked. I didn't want to say these things to him, so I chose to remain silent. Lucas, however, directly pulled the car over to the side and looked at me calmly. "Don't you want to talk to me?" "No." I sighed helplessly and said, "Lucas, just let me go. We're no longer from the same world, and besides, everyone has moved on with their own lives. We should accept our fate." Lucas frowned. I said, "Drive, or let us get out of the car." Lucas restarted the car. After a short while, Lucas's phone rang. Tiffany called him, and he tapped his Bluetooth headset twice to answer. Although Tiffany spoke softly, my sharp ears could still clearly hear what she was saying. She said, "Lucas, are you home yet?" Lucas, "Almost there." Tiffany, "Lucas, should we get married?" The next second, Lucas's car came to a stop at a red light, his gaze unapologetically fixed on me. Lost in thought, I didn't avoid it in time. We collided head-on. It was a bit dazzling. "Lucas, are you listening?" His Bluetooth earpiece once again picked up Tiffany's voice. "Driving, we'll get back to you later." Lucas hung up the phone and set off again. I didn't speak to Lucas the whole way. After arriving at the neighborhood, I thanked Lucas and prepared to carry Tommy away. As it turned out, Lucas was the first to pick up Tommy. "Since it's already a gift for you, shouldn't you at least invite me for a cup of tea?" "Lucas, I have a husband. That person isn't you." Lucas looked indifferent. "Zane won't be coming home tonight. How can you even stand this?" Of course I can. He's rich, handsome, and gives us money. Why can't we put up with it?" Lucas pondered thoughtfully. "I'm also handsome, wealthy, and considerate. You should be with me." I immediately refused. "No way. Give me the child. I'll go up by myself." I reached out my hand, but Lucas completely ignored me and walked into the neighborhood, saying, "Lead the way." Damn it, who the hell wants to take him along? Arriving at the doorstep, I couldn't help but feel a headache coming on. "Lucas, don't embarrass me." Lucas's brow twitched slightly as he handed the child back to me. "I'll watch you go inside." I opened the door and took the child. A pair of worn men's black slippers at the entrance caught my eye. Lucas froze in place, staring at me in bewilderment. I sighed and blocked the doorway. "Lucas, live a good life with Tiffany." With a bang, I shut the door. I kicked off the black men's slippers. Just then, Tommy, who had been dozing on my shoulder, woke up. Tommy looked around and realized we were home. The voice carried a hint of drowsiness as he asked, "Mom, is that Dad?" Despite being only 4 years old, Tommy was more mature and sensible than his peers. I softly hummed in agreement and gently touched his forehead. Still sleepy, Tommy shook his head and tightened his grip around my arm. "Mommy, why can't I meet Daddy? Can I tell Daddy my last name is G?" I said with a serious expression. "No, Tommy, you mustn't disturb Daddy's new life. Understand? If you go, Mommy won't be able to stay with you all along." I felt guilty about Tommy missing out on paternal love, but there's nothing I can do about it, because apart from staying away from him to minimize the harm he causes me, I'm powerless. I kissed Tommy's forehead and said, "It's all Mommy's fault for being useless." Tommy pursed his lips. "I want to be with Mom." The next day, as Lucas had anticipated, Zane didn't return home. When he came to see me, the conspicuous red marks on his neck made it obvious what had happened. Especially since he deliberately wore a high-collared shirt. I can't even bear to look. I stopped him from entering. Zane's pupils trembled in shock. "You didn't bring Lucas back, did you?" We agreed. "Until the plan succeeds, we absolutely can't let the cat out of the bag." Listening to his urgent words, I couldn't help but roll my eyes. "Zane, look at that red mark on your neck. Even concealer can't hide it." He scratched his head and smiled awkwardly. "Guess I can only blame the product for being subpar." Tommy was watching TV in the living room, and I called out, "Tommy, Mom's going out for a bit, open the door yourself when I come back, don't open the door for anyone, and stay home like a good boy." Tommy responded in his sweet, childish voice, "Okay." After closing the door, I went downstairs with Zane. "Did you get back together with Frank?" Zane shook his head. "No." I let out an, "Oh, young people really know how to have fun, Zane." "Did you take Lucas home with you last night?" Me, "No, Zane. I saw the shoes at your doorway." I shot him a sideways glare. Suddenly, he realized and sincerely praised, "Sarah, you're so smart. I know Lucas too well, even better than I know myself. If it weren't for Tiffany, we would most likely be living happily together." Zane advised me, "Since you both still have feelings for each other, why not get back together?" I smiled bitterly, raising my eyes to look ahead. I can't win. Just like all those years, I had clearly hinted to Lucas countless times that I was in City G, yet I waited and waited, hoped time and again, but Lucas never appeared. Perhaps time had already begun to erode his memory, or more likely, because Tiffany had successfully taken my place. Zane opened his mouth, wanting to speak. I asked, "What about you? You've already slept with Frank, and you still don't plan to ask him for help." Zane's gaze wavered. Who said sleeping together means we can get back together? I wonder what he's thinking about." I watched as his face visibly started to turn red. I clicked my tongue and teased, "What are you recalling to blush like that?" We strolled around the neighborhood and casually found a secluded bench to sit on. Zane said shyly, "It's all because of the things you asked." What did I say? Zane's face turned red as he said, "Let me tell you, after all these years, Frank is still as shameless as ever. Last night, he forced me to reconcile with him. When I refused, he said if we did it a few more times, I'd agree." Zane rubbed his waist, his hand lazily resting on the bench behind me. Just 3 hours later, Zane and I were trending on social media. Hashtag Owen's family group's young master returns with wife and child hashtag. In the photo, Zane was holding the child, and I stood by his side. Behind us, there was also Lucas wearing sunglasses looking in our direction. At the same time, the topic occupying the second spot on the trending list was hashtag Robinson family group marries James heiress hashtag. Within an hour, Zane's phone was flooded with calls. My sudden appearance also sparked curiosity among friends for a while. Lucas's brother, Leo, sent me a message. "You're back in the country." Me, "Yeah, Leo, who's that kid?" Me, "Not Lucas's, he's my current husband's." We hadn't even talked for 2 minutes when my parents called. My mom asked me to come home and bring Tommy. Me, "Mom, Tommy is Zane's child. Did you get married?" Me, "Not officially in China yet, but we registered our marriage abroad." My mom was furious. "You mean that trip abroad you told me about 3 years ago?" I nodded vaguely. "Yeah, and I won't be bringing the child back with me." My mother complained, "You silly child. How could you not tell us about such a big thing? Bring the child back to meet us too. After all, no matter what, they'll still have to call me grandma." "Don't worry, your father won't be angry." Touched, I smiled politely and said, "Okay." I deliberately chose a weekday to bring Tommy back, afraid of running into Lucas and the others. The moment my mom saw Tommy, she was completely captivated by his adorable appearance. "This child's genes are just too good, aren't they?" my mom exclaimed, unable to resist pinching his cheeks from time to time. "But why do I feel like this child looks so familiar?" my mom muttered. Then, Tommy puffed up his cheeks. "Grandma, stop pinching my face all the time, or son will complain about my face being too big again." "Who is son?" My mom's hand froze mid-air. I said, "His little friend." "Then has he come over?" I shook my head. "Son is in G City." My dad walked in from outside, carrying a fishing rod, his deep voice booming. "Humph. So you still remember to come back. Why didn't you wait until we were buried to come back?" "Hi, Grandpa," Tommy called out to him in a sweet, childish voice, toddling over excitedly. Glancing down at the bucket my dad was holding, he pointed at it excitedly and said, "Wow, Mom, look at the big fish. It's huge." Grandpa is just Tommy's greatest hero. So amazing. My dad was so flattered that his anger dissipated, and he said proudly, "Come on, Grandpa will take you fishing." Tommy clapped his hands in delight, fiddling with the straps of his overalls. "Grandpa is awesome," my dad praised once again. blushed and said, "Little one, keep up." Just as my mom was about to stop them, I held her back and said, "Never mind, let Tommy help me cheer Dad up." I followed my mother through the door. "Lily, if you ask me, why don't you and that Owens family's young master have another child of your own?" My mother asked me seriously. "Mom, that's enough. Having experience in this lifetime is already plenty, but after all, he's not your biological child either." I didn't want to discuss this topic with her. "What are we having for dinner tonight?" "Your dad's catch of the day." Not that my mom would personally cook it. "Bring Zane back to meet us when you have time." Me, I was just worried you and Dad were still angry. My mom sighed. "If we'd known you and Lucas weren't compatible, we wouldn't have pressured you into marriage back then. We weren't meant to be." At home, Zane called me. He said the company was a bit busy and couldn't pick us up in the evening. "Then focus on your work first. Good luck." Zane on the other end of the line seemed very busy and quickly hung up. During these 4 years, I called home regularly except for not returning. Sometimes when I missed them, I would call once a week. The reason my parents were angry was that I didn't even come home for the new year, and as soon as I returned, I ended up becoming a stepmother. The bedroom's decor remained exactly the same as it was many years ago. I lay in bed, drowsiness washing over me, and soon fell asleep. In my dream, I encountered Lucas. Why won't this guy leave me alone? He even shows up when I'm trying to sleep. The scene shifted, and I followed Lucas into his office. In the spacious office, there was actually a hidden compartment. Lucas seemed unable to see me. No matter how many times I called his name, he never responded to me, so I openly followed him to a hidden compartment. When Lucas flipped the wall switch, the lights suddenly illuminated. I was stunned by the sight before me. The walls were covered with portraits of me. There were images from childhood to adulthood, even photos of Lucas and me together, and on the table were the most recent photographs. Lucas in the dream looked deeply distressed. He sat casually on the floor, his back turned to me, caressing a photograph. The person in the photo was me holding Tommy at the airport, with Zane photoshopped out. As I slowly moved closer, Lucas's tears suddenly fell, landing on the photograph. I suddenly woke up, clutching my chest and gasping for breath. My body trembled uncontrollably. After a long while, I finally calmed down and helplessly rubbed my forehead. What kind of nightmare was that? I actually saw Lucas crying. In my memory, even when I snatched his favorite toy as a child, Lucas never cried. This dream was too cruel, making me unable to resist the urge to comfort him. A series of knocks came from the door. "Mommy," Tommy's childish voice called out. "Mommy, open the door, please. It's your little baby." Me, "Oh my little baby. How can you be so adorable?" Hearing my mom's doting voice, I knew she had been completely won over by him at that moment. Tommy is exceptionally good at acting cute. I opened the door, crouched down, and rubbed Tommy's head. "What's wrong, sweetheart?" "Grandpa asked me to call you for dinner." Grandma brought me up. My mom frowned. "Why are you all sweaty?" "It's nothing. I just had a nightmare." I bent down to pick up Tommy and went downstairs. "Today we're eating big fishy fish, caught while fishing with Grandpa, the invincible superhero." He often excitedly describes to me the scene of going fishing with my dad today, waving his hands animatedly. But in the blink of an eye, I noticed Tommy's clothes had been changed. I didn't even have time to frown. My dad coughed and explained, "Well, it was my fault. I accidentally let Tommy slip into the water." As he said this, my dad didn't dare to raise his head. My mom was just about to scold my dad. "Tommy, it's okay if you can swim," I said. Tommy pouted and replied, "Yeah, Grandpa's fine." He patted his chest. "It's just that Grandpa got too nervous, so he gave me a bath and even found some uncle's clothes for me to wear." I froze for a moment and looked down at him. What uncle's clothes? At that moment, I realized Tommy's clothes looked strangely familiar. "Isn't this Lucas's old outfit from childhood?" I asked. "Dad, did you take him to see Lucas's parents?" "No. I ran into old G while fishing, so we fished together." My dad's voice grew softer and softer. Tommy sensed my anger and cooed at me. "Oh, the most beautiful mommy in the world. Please don't be mad at me, okay? I promise I'll stay by Grandpa's side next time." Whatever, we were bound to meet sooner or later. Fortunately, Tommy doesn't look like us. It's fine. How are Uncle Lucas and the others doing health-wise? Seeing that I wasn't angry, my dad also relaxed. "They're doing great. Not long after you left, Lucas took over the company completely, so he's been free with nothing to do. He keeps inviting me to go fishing whenever he can. Those two have gone fishing crazy, my mother said disdainfully. That's enough, go wash your hands and eat. Just as we sat down at the table, the doorbell rang. The servant opened the door and ushered the guest in. Master, madam, it's the second young master of the Robinson family. I froze. Suddenly remembering that Lucas had a younger brother who was 4 years his junior, just graduated this year. He seems to have studied abroad, but I forgot exactly where. Uncle, auntie, long time no see. My parents were also pleasantly surprised. Looking at the impressive Jack, going home, Jack nodded and called out to me, sis, sis, I replied, long time no see. Jack put down the gifts in his hand. These are some local specialties I brought for you. Seeing the clearly marked place of production, I couldn't help but freeze, thinking about how I deceived my parents by secretly marrying Zane abroad. But then again, Jack probably wouldn't be bored enough to investigate this matter. Tommy blinked his round eyes at him. I gave them a brief introduction. This is my son, Tommy. Tommy, say hello to Uncle. Tommy obediently said, hello, Uncle. Because of Jack's arrival, an extra chair was added to the dining table. My mom greeted. These are just some home-style dishes, don't mind them, Xiao Lu. Not at all. It's been so long since I've had Lucy's cooking, I've missed it terribly. To show his sincerity, he deliberately ate a large piece of pork. Tommy sat in his baby chair, imitating Jack's movements and took a big bite, only for the meat to fly off, nearly landing in Jack's bowl. Everyone was amused by the scene. Jack suddenly remarked, Tommy, you're so adorable. Quite similar to how my brother was when he was little. Hearing his words, I almost choked on my food. Sis, don't you think it looks like him? I explained to him that Tommy wasn't his biological child. After dinner, I carried Tommy to see Jack off. It was really just a short walk, and I didn't feel like moving much, but I had to put on a show. Watching Jack go out, I was just about to carry Tommy back inside. Then I suddenly heard Jack call out to me, sis, where did you live before? I answered truthfully, City G. Jack nodded. That's a pretty good place, judging by his expression. He seemed to be reminiscing and carefully evaluating. Have you been there? Jack nodded. I attended training camp there during high school. I was stunned. If he hadn't just mentioned it, I would have completely forgotten that Jack was a sports program student. It's normal to have trained there before. I pretended to be nonchalant. What a coincidence. Jack gave me a creepy smile. Sis, I'll head back first, Tommy said. Goodbye, Uncle. Back home, I pretended to casually inquire about Jack. From my parents, I learned that Jack had switched from being a sports student to a medical student. Tommy was born in G City, but Jack studied abroad, so it shouldn't be such a coincidence. To avoid raising suspicions among the Robinson family, the next day, I used the excuse of not having any clean clothes to change into and took Tommy home. Along the way, Tommy excitedly called Son in G City using his smartwatch for kids, most of the time. Tommy was the one chattering away, while Son responded sparingly. As soon as I got home, Zane called. He asked me to bring Tommy back to the Owens house that evening, taking money to handle matters. That was only natural, but I didn't expect Lucas to be here too. Leaving now would cause trouble. I glared at Zane, who didn't even dare to look me in the eye. When no one was paying attention, he secretly made a please gesture at me. Once seated, I learned that Lucas was an investor in the Owens family. Between Frank's investment and Lucas's, Zane directly chose Lucas. To curry favor with Lucas, the Owens family specifically invited Tiffany. She naturally took a seat beside Lucas, while Tommy sat on his other side. I heard that Mr. Lucas is getting married to Miss Tiffany. I'd like to extend my best wishes for a happy union to both of them. Mr. Zane's tone carried a hint of flattery. Zane glanced at me, but I remained indifferent, lowering my eyes to fiddle with my phone. Just then, Leo sent me a WeChat message. Sarah, are you with Lucas right now? There was a probing tone in the voice. I took a photo of the dining table and sent it to him, not just together, but also eating at the same table. Leo replied instantly. Are you okay then? I just thought he was being a bit odd. Of course I was fine. Lucas's voice was steady and firm. Oh, how come I, the person involved, didn't know about this? His gaze swept coldly over Tiffany before briefly passing over me. I didn't speak, quite unlike young Master Zane's enthusiasm with his wife. Clearly, Lucas was referring to the trending topic. Tiffany's expression darkened, and the motion she had prepared to pull Lucas back froze in place under his sharp gaze. Her face turned pale. The desolate look in her eyes was impossible to conceal. Even the dimmest of the Owens family realized they had made a mistake. They hurried to apologize. However, Lucas appeared magnanimous. Saying nothing on the surface and simply smiling it off, Tommy lowered his head, picked up my phone, and started watching capybaras. This is the newly risen top celebrity. Recently, all the little kids love it, including Tommy. However, Son doesn't like it. Tommy often says that when he goes back to G-City, he must bring a capybara for Son, saying, "Mom, if I bring one for Son, he'll definitely fall in love with it." Tommy looks absolutely certain. The Owens family was single-mindedly determined to arrange a marriage between Zane and me, even though, in the eyes of outsiders, I had given birth to a son for their family. They still treated me with disdain. I adopted an indifferent attitude as well. After dinner, I took Tommy for a walk in the garden to aid digestion. I waited for Zane to finish his work and come home. When Tommy got tired from walking, he tugged at me and pointed to the swing not far away, saying, "Mommy, I want it." I held him in my arms, sitting on the wooden swing, kicking my feet gently as we slowly took off. Tommy found it amusing and cheered excitedly. "We're flying." While waiting for Zane, I idly scrolled through my phone out of boredom. I noticed there wasn't even the slightest mention online about the marriage alliance between the Robinson and James families. The James and Robinson families are equally matched in strength, making them the perfect candidates for a marriage alliance. In just 1 week, the James family's finances began to falter. Apart from the Robinsons, I can't think of anyone else who would target the James family. Suddenly, Tommy spoke up. "Mom, who is that?" following the direction of his finger. I noticed a person standing in front of a black car. From such a distance, I couldn't make out his expression. From afar, wisps of smoke lingered around the man's thin lips as he lowered his hand and gazed toward the Owens residence. He seemed lonely. "It's too far away. Mom can't see clearly either." I responded to him, checking the time. "It's about time to leave." Just then, a figure blocked my view ahead. A pair of gleaming black leather boots came into view. "Uncle." Tommy called out obediently to Lucas. Holding Tommy, I instinctively took a step back. Lucas, with his well-defined knuckles, bent down and tugged the swing's rope, pulling it toward himself. The moment I raised my hand, I saw the scars on his wrist. "Lucas, what happened to your hand?" The words slipped out almost instinctively. Frowning, I pushed him away with one hand and stood up. "How can you be so careless with your own body?" Lucas lowered his head and chuckled. "Sarah, are you concerned about me? What's the harm in Tommy calling you uncle and showing some concern?" I tightened my grip around Tommy. I continued, "I was just asking casually. Your body is your own, and you can do whatever you want with it. It's not my place to interfere." With that, I prepared to leave with Tommy. Learning from past mistakes, I made sure to drive this time. I had just inserted the key when Lucas pulled open the passenger seat door. I frowned. "What are you doing?" Lucas rested his arm on the window frame, glancing at me sideways. "I've been drinking. Could you give me a ride?" I was about to refuse, was abruptly interrupted by Lucas. "Sarah, one must not be ungrateful. This is what you owe me. Wasn't it just that he gave me a ride last time, making it seem like I owe him something so important?" Lucas gave an address, and only when I was halfway there did I realize he actually lives right across from me. I suppressed my anger. "Lucas, are you doing this on purpose? Last time, I thought the environment there was nice, so I rented it." Lucas said it nonchalantly. I asked, "When did you rent it?" Lucas, "Last night." "Lucas, are you crazy?" Lucas didn't hesitate at all. "Yes." After driving to the building, parking the car, and returning home with Tommy, he couldn't find his phone for a long time before realizing he had left it in the car. Back at the car, I glanced over and noticed Lucas was still sitting on the bench, holding an unlit cigarette in his hand. Lucas was acting stranger by the minute. I opened the car door and knelt on the passenger seat, searching for my phone. The next second, I faintly sensed a figure approaching from behind. I turned to look. Lucas stood by the car. Suddenly, he wrapped his arm around my waist, opened the back door, and forcefully shoved me inside. Lucas, no matter how much I called out. Lucas remained unmoved. Lucas, I'm getting married, he scoffed, glancing at me sideways and said, are you planning to marry Zane while carrying my child? His eyes were bloodshot. Instinctively dodging and avoiding, Lucas's hand gripped my chin, forcing me to look at him. Lily, I thought 4 years ago, we were just having an argument. Why did you leave me? His tone was unreadable. The hand caressing my chin grew stronger as I struggled. Lucas curled his lips into a smile. Zane won't marry you. Lily, I certainly won't let you marry someone else with my son. In an instant, I suddenly understood the meaning behind Leo's message to me. Lucas knew. Tommy was his and my child. How did you know? I asked unwillingly. Lucas let go of my hand and instead slung his arm around my waist in a carefree manner, pulling me even closer to him. Guess, those 2 short words carried a hint of roguishness. My hand pressed against his chest. Did Jack tell you? Lucas smiled. Not entirely. Tommy and I took a DNA test. I should have known. Seeing that I remained silent, he continued, and you forgot, my dad has already met Tommy. Do you think they didn't have any thoughts when they saw me? But Tommy doesn't look like us at all. Lucas, have you forgotten? When Jack was little, he didn't resemble anyone either. Lucas's younger brother didn't look like anyone at first either. It wasn't until after he turned 5 that his facial features started changing, perfectly combining the best traits of Lucas's parents. My heart skipped a beat. I had indeed forgotten about that. Lucas's hand pinched my waist, his slightly displeased tone falling by my ear. I haven't settled the score with you yet. Why is my importance the same as others? I was left speechless by Lucas's words. Nothing happened between me and Tiffany, Lucas unexpectedly explained. I paused. What does that have to do with me? Lucas chuckled, his long arm pulling me in tightly until my face was pressed against his chest. Sarah, I love you, forever. My heart softened the moment Lucas said those words. I asked, don't you mind that I lived with Zane? Lucas lifted me with one arm, entered the elevator, and pressed the floor button. Let's go throw all his things out right now. Back at home, this was Lucas's first time here, yet, when he saw there were no traces of Zane's belongings, his expression remained utterly calm. Aren't you suspicious of me at all, suspecting that I'm really living with Zane, willingly becoming a stepmother to his child? Lucas said, it would be a lie to say I'm not suspicious at all. He held my hand and placed it over his heart, looking at me earnestly. Lily, you don't know how jealous I was when I saw you coming back with Zane. I was going crazy with jealousy, seeing you both enter the apartment building together. I wanted to beat Zane up right then and there. The Owens family needs funds. If you don't want to rely on a marriage alliance, apart from Frank, the only person left is me. He took a deep breath and continued, but when I found out Tommy is our child, I was actually quite happy. I'm not short on money. I could even give Zane away for free. I immediately cut him off. That won't do. Zane still owes me money. Lucas, all right, I'll get it all back for you. I froze for a moment, withdrew my hand, and asked curiously, how will you get it back? Lucas pinched my nose and said confidently, you'll be satisfied. As soon as the words were spoken, the door to the children's room was opened. Tommy came out in his little bear pajamas, yawning. Mommy, you're finally back. Upon seeing Lucas, he rubbed his eyes in disbelief. Uncle, Lucas frowned and said to him, you should call me Dad. Tommy hesitated and looked at me, and I nodded. Well, let's take it one step at a time. The next second, Tommy rushed straight toward Lucas, shouting, Daddy. That night, Tommy clung to his father, begging him to stay. However, in the latter half of the night, it was Lucas who wouldn't let go of me, and he only settled down as dawn approached. By the time I woke up, it was already noon. The phone on the bedside suddenly lit up. I picked it up and saw a message from Lucas. Tommy, I've brought him to the company. Lucas, if you miss him, you can come to the company to pick him up, and by the way, bring me the car keys I left on the bedside. I glanced at the bedside, and sure enough, there was a Lamborghini car key. I poked at my phone. Did you do this on purpose? Lucas, you found out. At noon, after getting ready, I took a taxi to Lucas's company. However, Lucas was out, and his assistant received me. Young madam, you've finally returned. I awkwardly smiled at him. Lucas and I have been divorced for many years. The assistant turned a deaf ear. Young madam, you can call me anytime if you need anything. Tommy was taken away by Lucas. I was alone in the vast office, looking at the office backdrop. I suddenly recalled that image in my mind, just wanted to give it a try. Behind Lucas's office chair, I knocked on the wall and indeed discovered it was hollow inside. Isn't this a bit too realistic? Following the memory in my mind, I moved aside a book on the shelf, revealing the switch. I pressed it in delight. The hidden compartment's door opened. I stepped inside and turned on the light switch. The interior design is exactly the same as in my dream. Desk, bed, bathroom, even the walk-in closet is here. Nothing missing. I opened the window slightly, letting the light stream in and fall onto the bed. Reflected in a photo was an image of me holding 2-year-old Tommy while playing in the sand. My eyes flickered, and I finally found a black leather diary on the bedside table. Upon opening it, I discovered it was densely filled with records of every little detail about Lucas and me. A low, hoarse voice came from behind. Lily. The next second, Lucas hugged me from behind, resting his head on my shoulder. I'm sorry. When did you find out about Tiffany? I asked, my voice trembling. Lucas held my wrist, revealing those scars again. I asked, does it hurt? Lucas said, it doesn't hurt, Lily, don't cry. I'm not in pain anymore, from the day after you left. I knew Tiffany was a strategist with financial resources comparable to the Robinson family. Lucas said, I heard that Tiffany and the system talking, they want to erase my memory, and I'm scared, I'm so scared, but I'm even more afraid they'll hurt you. Lucas sat on the edge of the bed and pulled me onto his lap. He kissed my forehead and said, Lily, don't worry, I'll definitely protect you. Lily, don't leave me. So how did you get that scar on your hand? I asked. He said, Tiffany bought a drug through the system task that could make me forget you. I was afraid of forgetting, so I built this secret room. Whenever I had time, I would write things down, but for a while, I forgot about you, couldn't remember anything, so I tried to make a cut here to open it up. Instantly, my eyes reddened, and I slapped Lucas's chest. Are you stupid? Lucas wiped away my tears, still comforting me. Lily, it's okay, it's all going to be over soon. Then he pulled me into his embrace. Tiffany's family company went bankrupt overnight. It was delisted. At the same time, the message that Tiffany's mission had failed appeared in both my and Lucas's minds. It's really over. I excitedly grabbed Lucas's hand. He hugged me and said, yes, since Tiffany disappeared, Lucas has been coming to my house more and more often. Sometimes, I even run into Zane bringing Frank along. What a coincidence. Neighbor downstairs. What a coincidence. Upstairs neighbor. Frank and Lucas had an awkward conversation. Later I found out that both Lucas and Frank had seen me coming and going with Zane. They were both heartbroken about it for a long time. Lucas's identity as an investor was acquired by Frank at a high price. In one go, just from the profits alone, I made 30 million. This infuriated Zane, who kept bombarding me with WeChat messages. I replied, you brought this upon yourself. Half a year later, Lucas handed the company over to Jack. He took me and Tommy G back to live in G City. In the deep of night, I nestled in his arms and asked, don't you miss home by coming here with me? Lucas laughed freely, leaned down to kiss my cheek, and said, no, wherever you are is home. After hearing the first story above, what are your thoughts? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments section. Next, there is another similar story. Let's continue to see. I was the early deceased villainess in a story where everyone dotes on the female lead. I became a vegetable to save my childhood sweetheart. After working as an underpaid laborer for the system for 3 years, I finally managed to revive. Suddenly, a row of bullet comments appeared before my eyes. The supporting female character has woken up. My poor female lead is about to be bullied soon. Don't worry. Although the female lead was initially a substitute, she has already won over the childhood sweetheart and family of the supporting female character. If the supporting female character dares to harm the female lead, they will be the first to object. If the supporting female character knew that her beloved childhood sweetheart and family, while missing her, gave all their love to someone else, and now no one wishes for her to wake up, I wonder how she would feel. Just as I was feeling disheartened and questioning whether coming back was a mistake, the barrage reappears. Supporting female lead, don't listen to them. The antagonist has been secretly in love with you all along, praying every day for you to wake up. Supporting female lead, look at Jiangqi. His room is covered with your photos. He calls your name in his sleep at night, and the sheets are unspeakable when he wakes up. Hu Jiangqi. Isn't he the sworn enemy I've been fighting tooth and nail with in the business world? Lying on the hospital bed, I watched the barrage of bullet comments flashing before my eyes. My heart was filled with mixed emotions. This was the 6th hour since I woke up. The nurse immediately notified my parents and younger brother, but none of them came, because today was Su Xinyao's debut dance performance. From the bullet comments, I learned that Su Xinyao was the daughter my family adopted after I fell into a coma. She looks very much like me and is the beloved female protagonist of this world, while I'm just a cannon fodder supporting character, having been in a vegetative state for 3 years before accidentally binding with a system and waking up. The words the system spoke before leaving still echoed in my ears. The person you miss might not want you to return, one day. You'll willingly stay here with me. The sound of hurried footsteps came from outside the door, and my mother's anxious expression came into view. Hey, hee, you're finally awake. My shoulders sank as Mom hugged me tightly, bursting into tears. Close behind were Dad and my younger brother Su Chen, with Su Xinyao being the last to enter. Looking at the girl before me, she really did bear a 70 to 80% resemblance to me, with the deliberate imitation of hairstyle and clothing. From a distance, even someone familiar might mistake her. The moment Mom saw Su Xinyao, she immediately let go of me. Su Chen, who had initially intended to hug me, withdrew his hand, and even Dad coughed softly to appear less excited. This is hilarious. The supporting female character still thinks she's everyone's favorite. Look, the moment the female lead appears, no one dares to even glance at her anymore. That's a relief. Otherwise, our sweet girl is so delicate, she'd be bullied to death by the female antagonist. Let the female antagonist stir up trouble. Her fate is miserable later, sent abroad by her family to fend for herself, assaulted overseas, and ultimately dying tragically on the streets. Reading my own ending, I couldn't help but shiver. I looked up, bewildered, and asked the group, "Who are you?" That's right, I'm pretending to have amnesia. After all, you can't believe everything in the bullet comments. I need to verify it myself. Hearing my words, Mom's eyes welled up with tears again. Hee, don't you recognize us? We're your... Before she could finish, Dad interrupted. We are your uncle and aunt. As soon as the words were spoken, the room fell silent. The two exchanged glances, and then Mom lowered her head without saying another word. These two are our son and daughter, your cousins. Ha ha ha. Making the female antagonist fake amnesia. Now she's directly parentless and an orphan. Let's see how she stirs up trouble later. The female antagonist's dad really played a masterstroke here. Even her own father doesn't want her. Does the female antagonist understand her place now? I ignored the mocking comments on the bullet screen and turned to look at Su Chen, the younger brother I had once risked my life to protect. Cousin, when Su Chen was a child, he was kidnapped by human traffickers, and it was me who jumped onto the vehicle at the last moment, getting abducted with him. When we escaped, I carried the exhausted Su Chen on my back and walked through the forest for 3 hours. In the end, at the hospital, Su Chen only had minor injuries, while I lost so much blood that I fell into a coma for 2 days. I still remember how Su Chen wept bitterly by my hospital bed. The boy held my hand and swore to protect me for a lifetime. It was that very brother who promised to protect me forever, yet when faced with Su Xinyao's tear-filled eyes, he reluctantly nodded. Cousin, the heart that had been hanging in suspense finally died. I lowered my head and smiled self-deprecatingly, asking them, "What about my parents?" Dad was silent for a moment. "They died shortly after you were born. Hee, you were raised by us, just like our own daughter. Now, I really wish they were dead." The atmosphere in the ward suddenly became very strange. Su Xinyao was the one who broke the silence, stepping forward to hold my hand. "Sister, don't be sad. My parents are your parents now. You can call them Mom and Dad from now on." I quietly withdrew my hand, ignoring Su Xinyao's attempt to comfort her. The supporting female character is really ungrateful. The female lead is trying so hard to please her. What more does she want? Woo-woo, our female lead is just too kind. She could have ignored the supporting female character, but she still went out of her way to comfort her. Has the world gone mad? The female lead stole the supporting female character's family, yet she expects the supporting female character to be nice to her. Since when is the female lead automatically in the right? I'd slap the female lead twice if it were me, who understands the sense of redemption I felt seeing this comment. Finally, a normal comment, actually. I also want to do as the comment suggested, slap everyone here twice, but I just woke up and really don't have the strength in my hands. Yao Yao, I'm here to take you to the celebration banquet. The familiar deep voice sounded at the door. It was Wen Shuren. Ah, the male lead is here. Worried the female lead might be bullied, he rushed over specifically to back her up. Actually, the male lead had been standing at the door for a while. Hearing that the supporting female character lost her memory, he felt a huge wave of relief. After all, his feelings are for the female lead now. If the supporting female character tried to pressure him with the debt of saving his life, it would only make him more conflicted. Who is this? I looked up at Wen Shuren. The man subtly avoided my gaze, not daring to meet my eyes. Dad spoke up at the right moment. Hee. This is your cousin's fiancé, your brother-in-law, Wen Shuren. I stared straight at Wen Shuren. Deep down, I hoped he would deny it, but Wen Shuren didn't speak up, nor did he push away Su Xinyao's arm linked with his. It was as good as silent consent. I lowered my head and saw the scar on my hand, left from shielding Wen Shuren during the car accident. Because of that, I spent 3 years in a vegetative state. In those 3 years, he fell in love with another girl. The childhood sweetheart who would drink alone in frustration and beg me tearfully not to like anyone else just because someone wrote me a love letter. In the end, he was gone. When Shuren and Su Xianya walked away arm in arm just like that, the others went to see them off. I tried to get out of bed and walk on my own, just reaching the doorway. Then I overheard the conversation of several people outside the door. Aren't we being too harsh by deceiving our sister like this? This is also for Hihi's own good. If she knew we found someone who looks just like her while she was sick, how heartbroken would she be? Besides, this way we don't have to worry about her bullying Yao Yao. It's better for both of them. Now, we just need to figure out how to get Hihi to transfer your grandfather's shares and divide them equally among the 3 of you. Then, as parents, we can finally rest easy. Father Su Weiguang's words pierced my heart like 10,000 needles. And I could no longer hold back the tears welling up in my eyes. I never expected them to give all their love to Su Xinyao, and now they're even eyeing the shares Grandpa left me. Those were given to me by Grandpa before he passed away. He didn't trust Dad, Mom was too love-struck, and my brother was too young at the time, so he had no choice but to leave them to me. This is my last trump card, and I absolutely won't give it up. Do you get it now? Supporting character. No one here actually wants you to wake up, except yourself. If she hadn't woken up, the Su family probably wouldn't have visited the hospital in almost a month, right? The supporting character's dad claims the shares will be split equally, but the moment he gets them, he hands everything over to the female lead. What can you do? Our female lead is just that lovable. My heart gradually turned cold. Perhaps System 1 was right before. Suddenly, the bullet comments appeared again. Supporting female lead. Don't listen to them. The villain has been secretly in love with you. Praying every day for you to wake up. Supporting female lead. Just look at Jiang Qi. His room is covered with secretly taken photos of you. He calls your name in his sleep at night, and when he wakes up, the photos are crumpled, let alone the state of his bedsheets. With just a glance from the female supporting character, the villain's entire body stiffened. Who, Jiang Qi? Isn't he my sworn enemy in the business world? Fighting to the death, at night, while Su Chen wasn't paying attention. I secretly escaped from the hospital. I had nowhere else to go, so I decided to trust the barrage of comments and headed to the Jiang Corporation building. I heard that over the past 3 years, under Jiang Qi's leadership, the Jiang Corporation has grown increasingly successful, far surpassing the Su and Wen families. I wasn't sure if Jiang Qi would agree to see me, so I waited for him at the company entrance. After an hour of waiting, I finally saw a black Rolls-Royce slowly approach and stop nearby. A tall figure emerged from the back seat, dressed in a crisp suit, surrounded by several bodyguards. Jiang Qi. Almost instinctively, I ran toward the man but was stopped by the bodyguards outside. Jiang Qi glanced at me from the corner of his eye and said expressionlessly, Su Xinyao, I remember warning you not to appear before me dressed as Su He. No matter how much you look like her, you're not her. I just find it disgusting. Before the man could finish speaking, I had already slipped past the bodyguards and hugged him tightly. Husband, I've missed you so much, I thought to myself, since I've already pretended to have amnesia in front of the Su family, I might as well go all the way and try to cling to Jiang Qi as my lifeline. The man's body stiffened, finally recognizing my face, and said in disbelief, Su-he, by now. The male secretary, Chen Yu, had leaned close to Jiang Qi's ear, presumably telling him about my waking up this morning and my memory loss. Jiang Qi's expression softened slightly as he looked at me with a complicated gaze. I continued playing dumb. Honey, why didn't you come to the hospital to pick me up? I had to come find you on my own. After speaking, she vigorously rubbed herself against the man's chest. Jiang Qi's body instantly tensed up. Seeing his boss's composure wavering, the secretary immediately spoke up. President Jiang, you mustn't fall for Miss Su's tricks. Have you forgotten? She used every underhanded tactic to compete with us for business before. This time might just be another act she's putting on with the Su family. No, is it appropriate to say that in front of me? Jiang Qi gave the secretary a disdainful glance. Do you think I'm as foolish as you? Just as the secretary breathed a sigh of relief, he saw Jiang Qi lean in close to me and whisper, "What did you just call me?" "Say it again," I stammered. Husband." The next second, my feet left the ground as Jiang Qi lifted me in a princess carry, my head resting against his firm chest. "Be good, hubby will take you home." The world fell silent, listening to Chen Yu's defenses crumble. Ha ha ha, the female lead hasn't even done anything yet, and the villain is already hooked like a gaping fish. I feel like the villain has a bit of that Yandere vibe. Like the kind of guy who'd get slapped by a female side character and still praise her for how fragrant her hand is. Female side character, breathes villain, what a masterful move. Jiang Qi carried me into the CEO's office, locking everyone else out as he shut the door behind us. Before I could say anything, the man threw me directly onto the sofa. Jiang Qi quickly pressed forward, his body tightly against mine. I felt a bit scared and pushed him lightly. "Honey, I'm a little tired. I want to rest." Before I could finish speaking, the man interrupted. "Su-he, have you acted enough? Do you really think I'm a fool who'll be fooled by you every time? What's it for this time? Is it about the new partnership our company is negotiating, or the land in the southern district? What's the villain babbling about? Just kiss him first." Female supporting character, now's the time. Female supporting character, kiss him. Bet you if you kiss him, the villain will instantly lose his ability to think. Even if there's a sea of fire ahead, he'd jump in without hesitation. Is it really that effective? With a determined heart, I pulled down the man's tie, closed my eyes, and kissed him directly. Jiang Qi stiffened, his pupils trembling in shock as he stared at me in disbelief. When my tongue grazed his lips, the man's breath hitched, the thread of reason finally snapped. With one hand removing his glasses and the other gripping the back of my head, he took control, kissing me even more fiercely. "Su-he, you started this." The man kissed deeply, fiercely, as if pouring out all the years of restraint. I couldn't catch my breath and instinctively tried to push him away, but Jiang Qi grabbed my wrist, lifting both hands above my head. Deeper still he pressed. Consciousness began to blur. All I could feel was a tingling numbness on my tongue, my legs growing weak beyond control. Finally, a phone ringtone snapped us out of our daze. It was Wen Shuren calling. Only then did I realize Jiang Qi's shirt had somehow been completely unbuttoned. My hand was resting on his abs. Jiang Qi pressed his lips against mine, his voice hoarse. "Answer it." As if bewitched, I pressed the answer button. Wen Shuren's furious voice came through. "Su-he, who gave you permission to sneak out of the hospital? Do you have any idea how worried everyone is?" Here, the villain and the supporting female lead are locked in an inseparable kiss, while the male lead, unaware of the female lead's disappearance, is going crazy searching for her. Strange, didn't the male lead dislike the female supporting character? Why does he look so panicked now that she's gone? It's as if he's lost something most important to him. It's probably just concern. After all, the female supporting character saved the male lead's life, and they grew up together. It's normal for him to care. "Where are you now? I'll come pick you up immediately." When Shuren's voice continued, I was panting heavily with Jiang Qi. Jiang Qi let out a light laugh, flipped me over to sit on his lap, and leisurely removed the Rolex from his wrist. He whispered in my ear, "Tell him you're with me." When Shuren seemed to sense something was wrong on his end. "Su-he, who are you with?" I think I heard a man's voice. The villain is definitely getting revenge. Who knows how many years he's been secretly in love with the female supporting character, or how much jealousy he's felt towards the male lead. As expected, the couple I ship is the best to ship, no matter if it's black or white. Turn it all yellow for me. Oh my god, where is the villain's hand going? Is this something we can watch without paying? Feeling the man's hand gradually moving upward, I instinctively wanted to stop him. Jiangqi, wait a moment. Before I could finish my sentence, everything went black, and I fainted. At this critical moment, why did the female supporting character faint? Get up, I haven't seen enough yet. Facts have proven that not only does the boyfriend need to be physically strong, but the girlfriend's good health is equally important. Let me do it, I'm in good shape. Can I take over the role? When I woke up again, I was already lying in Jiangqi's lounge, surrounded by several doctors. Among them, the more senior doctor was briefing Jiangqi on my condition. I just woke up and my body is still quite weak. Plus, I was out in the cold wind for so long, which is why I caught a chill and fainted. Seeing that I was awake, Jiangqi hurried over to me and touched my forehead with his hand. Only after confirming that my fever had subsided did he let out a sigh of relief. Chen Yu shook his head silently in the background, with an expression that seemed to say his boss was doomed for life. Jiangqi asked me again if I felt any discomfort. I shook my head slightly. Only then did he let the doctors leave. Before leaving, the doctor looked at my swollen lips and hesitated before finally speaking. Miss Su is still very weak right now, President Jiang. It would be better to be a bit gentler with some matters, not too intense. My face instantly turned burning hot, and I really wanted to find a hole to crawl into. In contrast, Jiangqi remained completely calm, his tone steady. Understood, you can go back now, as if this were a perfectly normal thing, truly a person who accomplishes great things, indeed unbothered by trivialities. Because it was so late, Jiangqi let all the employees leave work, then picked me up and left the company. Even as the car started, I still had no idea where Jiangqi was taking me. Suddenly remembering when Shuren's call before I lost consciousness, I couldn't help but ask him what happened afterward. Jiangqi let out a light laugh, saying that the other side kept calling his name. He picked up the phone and said he was asleep. There was a long silence on the other end, followed by a sudden smack. When Shuren smashed the phone, Jiangqi seemed to be in a very good mood when he said this. Soon, the car stopped outside Jiangqi's villa. Why did you bring me here? Jiangqi narrowed his eyes slightly. You're my wife. If you don't live with me, where else would you stay? I was instantly left speechless. It makes sense. With nowhere else to go right now, staying at Jiangqi's place isn't a bad option. Following Jiangqi into the villa, the butler immediately came forward to greet us. Sir, you're back. Upon seeing me, the butler studied me carefully for a moment before his eyes suddenly lit up. Miss Su, welcome. I've never met this butler before, nor do I know how he recognized me. Before I could ask, Jiangqi spoke first. Not Miss Su, but Madam. My mind went blank instantly. This guy, I've lost my memory, but has he lost his too? You actually had the nerve to take advantage of me openly. What's even worse is that I can't argue back right now. Seeing that I didn't deny it, the butler's smile deepened. Yes, good evening, madam. All I could do was force a smile and nod. Ha ha ha. Can't blame the male lead for smashing his phone. It's all because the villain keeps fighting and grabbing, leaving absolutely no room for the female supporting character. Don't be angry, supporting female lead. Look at the villain's toned waist, that perky butt. You're not at a loss. Good days are still ahead, and unfocused pupils are no dream. Why do the black words look more and more yellow? Is this the barrage area or a no man's land? Is there no one online they care about? I had no choice but to close my eyes. Following Jiangqi to the second floor, the butler asked me which room I would be staying in. My heart tightened again. Jiangqi pointed to the guest room next to the master bedroom. Stay in this one. Hearing this, I finally breathed a sigh of relief. Fortunately, Jiangqi hadn't gone too far. Bullet comments. The villain's room is filled with photos of the female supporting character. How dare he let her enter? Once inside, she wouldn't be able to leave for at least 3 days and nights. The villain once stole the female supporting character's coat and would often sniff it. This really hits my kink. While wholesome romance is important, It's the twisted love that makes me fangirl like crazy. I didn't dare look at the comments anymore, afraid they might drop another bombshell. I hurried back to my room and shut the door, yet, curiosity gnawed at me. What exactly did Jiang Qi's room look like for the next few days? Jiang Qi stayed with me every day. He ate meals with me and reminded me to take my medicine. He even moved his work to my room. Occasionally, when Chen Yu came to report some matters, he would still be wary of me. Jiang Qi told him to speak openly. No need to avoid me. Chen Yu looked exasperated, but he didn't dare to disobey the boss's order. He had no choice but to say everything. It even included their company's confidential information. Even I couldn't help but silently wonder if Jiang Qi was being a bit too trusting of me. Early this morning, Jiang Qi went to the company for an important meeting. My body had mostly recovered, and I was just about to go downstairs for breakfast. I saw butler Zhou fiddling with something in the kitchen. Uncle Zhou, what are you doing? I couldn't help but ask. Zhou immediately turned around, pretending he had just noticed me behind him, and exclaimed in surprise, Madam, are you coming down for breakfast? Nothing much. I was just thinking that next month is the master's birthday, so I'm learning to cook steak to make for him then. Hearing this, I smiled somewhat awkwardly. If Uncle Zhou's reminder still had a hint of deliberateness, others didn't even bother to pretend. The maid is mopping the floor and says to me, Good morning, madam. The master's birthday is next month, so I thought I'd mop the floor extra clean. The gardener is trimming the garden and also says to me, Hello, madam, the master's birthday is next month, so I'm preparing to make the garden look even more beautiful. No, who asked them, and with the birthday being next month, isn't it a bit too early to be doing all this now? But the words were on the tip of my tongue, yet in the end, I didn't say them out loud and just retreated to my room. The barrage comments were even more hilarious. I'm dying of laughter. They might as well shout in the female lead's ear, Our master's birthday is coming, madam, you better not forget to prepare a gift. Who would have thought, over at the main couple's side, because the male lead has been distracted thinking about the female lead, they're about to have a huge fight. Is it really okay for the villain and the female lead to be this sweet? Sweet. Absolutely sweet. Villain and female lead. Keep the sugar coming. I've got other candidates for the messy drama and fights. Actually, it's not too much to ask the female lead to prepare a gift. Every year on her birthday, hasn't the villain sent her presents, and those gifts were all priceless. Yet, the female lead has never given him a single one. The barrage reminded me of it. At every past birthday banquet, although Jiang Qi wasn't invited, he always sent gifts through someone. I thought he was provoking me. So I either threw away or donated his gifts. I wouldn't even glance at them. Now that I think about it, he's helped me so much, and I've really been quite harsh on him. It's only right to give him a gift. With that thought, I immediately got up and had the driver take me to the largest mall in the city center. Although I've been lying down all these years, but the shares and investments in my hands have been continuing. The returns are also deposited into my card on time, a few days ago. I checked and found that the money in there is enough to cover my living expenses for the rest of my life. I went to a luxury store and picked out a limited edition men's watch. I just asked the clerk to wrap it up when I heard a sweet, coquettish voice beside me. Brother Shuren, I've been wrong these past few days. Your birthday is coming up soon. How about I give you a birthday present you'll like as an apology? What bad luck. Running into the male and female leads at a time like this. Is the female supporting character going to start competing for the male lead again as soon as she sees him? I was just starting to get interested, but if that's the case, I might have to drop this story. Hard to say. After all, in the original book, the female supporting character was always fighting with the female lead over men. At that moment, I turned my head and happened to see the Su family entering with Wen Shuren and Su Xian Yao. When Wen Shuren saw me, his previously distracted eyes suddenly lit up. Mom saw me and immediately came forward to grab my hand. Hee, where have you been all this time? I was so worried about you. Su Chen chimed in. Yeah, sis, you have no idea how worried Mom and Dad were about you. I just sneered inwardly. They claimed to be worried, but not a single one of them had called me in all these days. Dad noticed my expression wasn't right and could only force out a dry laugh. Hee, this is really your fault. You didn't say a word about where you were going. You have no idea how long Uncle and Aunt have been looking for you. By the way, before you passed out, Uncle asked you to temporarily hold on to those shares. shouldn't you return them to us now? I scoffed. The shares Grandpa gave me. Why on earth should I give them to you? Hearing this, their eyes widened abruptly. Su Xinyao voice trembled slightly. You've regained your memory. Or were you pretending all along? If I hadn't pretended, how would I know whether the people around me were jackals or tigers? As soon as the words fell, the Su family and Wen Shuren's faces turned pale, then green, then pale again. Dad looked utterly disappointed. Hee, how could you become like this? Oh, now they're turning the tables. When they can't win the argument, they just shift the blame. Su Chen also joined in criticizing me. Sis, you're being too willful. Is it really necessary to be so petty? We just played a little trick on you. You've had everything since childhood, which is why you've grown so spoiled. What's the harm in sharing a bit with Xinyao and me? You have no idea how hard Xinyao's life used to be. That's right. Be a good girl. Both you and Yao Yao are my daughters. Just listen to your father and hand over the shares. Hearing these words, I almost laughed in anger. My eyes grew hot. These were the family members I had once firmly protected. A familiar youthful voice rang in my ears. Hey, quite lively here. It was the system. What are you here for? The system's voice sounded lazy, bored with nothing to do. Came to see how you're getting along. At first glance, it seems like everyone has turned against me. The sarcasm was as sharp as ever, yet I couldn't utter a single word in rebuttal. But so what if everyone has turned against me? I raised my head to look at them, my gaze growing even more resolute. Was I the one who caused Su Xinyao's past suffering? There are so many pitiable people in the world. Shouldn't I feel sorry for children who can't even afford to go to school, rather than pitying a capable, college-educated adult like her? Has she grown too accustomed to a comfortable life, or has she become addicted to playing the beggar? Hearing these words, Su Xinyao burst into tears. Wen Shuren, who had remained silent until now, also turned cold-faced. Su He. That was too harsh of you to say. I order you to apologize to Yao Yao right now, or I'll never forgive you. Just as I was about to retort, the clerk brought out the watch I had ordered. Wen Shuren saw the watch and suddenly relaxed his expression. So you came here to buy me a birthday gift. If Wen Shuren hadn't mentioned it, I would have forgotten. His birthday is actually on the same day as Jiang Qi's. Apologize to Yao Yao now, and I can pretend what just happened didn't occur. Allowing you to attend my birthday banquet, otherwise, you definitely won't get to see me again. I suddenly laughed and no longer felt like arguing with them, grabbing my things. Wen Shuren, the biggest regret of my life was saving you. I turn and walk away. Wen Shuren chased after me from behind. Suhi, what do you mean by that? The man's hand hadn't even touched my wrist before it was caught by another hand. Wen Shuren let out a pained cry. It was clear the grip wasn't gentle. Jiang Qi pulled me into his arms, his sharp gaze fixed on Wen Shuren. What does Mr. Wen want to do with my fiancé? Since when did he become your fiancé? She's clearly mine. Halfway through his words, Wen Shuren realized something was wrong. He turned to look at Su Xinyao, who was still crying, and fell silent. Jiang Qi didn't press further, lowering his head to look at me with adoration. Why didn't you tell me you were coming out? I could have given you a ride. I immediately understood what he meant and reached out to wrap my arms around his waist. Your birthday is coming up, and I wanted to surprise you. Seeing our intimate display, Wen Shuren's expression grew even more unpleasant. Dad walked over at this moment, fawning over Jiang Qi with an ingratiating expression. So it's President Jiang. We're relieved to know He has been with you these days. I'm He's father, also the general manager of Su Corporation. Jiang Qi ignored the hand extended toward him, simply lowering his head to ask me, did you get everything? I nodded. He then put his arm around me and we left. Back in the car, I angrily pushed him away. When did you figure out I was faking amnesia? Jiang Qi chuckled. I knew it from the very beginning, so you've been playing me all along, making me call you hubby every day. As I spoke, I reached out and gave him a few playful hits. Jiang Qi didn't dodge. Instead, he laughed and let me hit him. Sis, stop rewarding the villain. He's practically dying of pleasure inside. Don't stop now, sighed heroine. Go home and step on his abs with your high heels. He'll definitely suffer even more. Upstairs. Your ulterior motives are practically flying into my face. Reading these comments, I couldn't keep fighting either and had to turn away, ignoring Jiang Qi. After a while, Jiang Qi suddenly spoke. So, Miss Su, do you really not like Wen Shuren anymore, or are you just using me to vent your anger at him? When Jiang Qi said this, the teasing tone from earlier was gone, replaced by a serious voice. I still didn't look at him, thought for a moment, and then spoke in a muffled voice. I stopped liking you a long time ago. The man seemed to chuckle on the other end. Suddenly, two large hands cupped my cheeks and turned my face around. What met my eyes was Jiang Qi's handsome face in an enlarged version, nose to nose. From now on, Miss Su, could you try to like me? At that moment, my heart skipped a beat. System, are you there? Why do I feel my heart racing faster and faster? Could it be that I'm not fully recovered yet? But no matter how much I called, the system didn't respond to me. The barrage comments are flooding the screen like crazy. Oh, look, the peacock guy finally spreads his tail. Supporting actress, you're done for, you're about to fall in love. Ha ha ha, your system has blocked you and rejected the dog food you tried to feed it. In the days that followed, I continued to live with the Jiang family, and began to investigate certain matters. Since the Su family wanted the shares in my possession, I naturally wouldn't just sit back and wait. Before I knew it, Jiang Qi's birthday had arrived. That day, the butler and servants took leave early and left. Only Jiang Qi and I remained at home. I gave him the gift and even cooked him longevity noodles. Jiang Qi seemed very happy, drank a lot of wine, and ended up quite drunk. My phone keeps ringing. They're all from Wen Shuren, along with many messages he sent. Why aren't you answering my calls? Are you still living with the Jiang family? Su-hee, I only deceived you once. Was it necessary for you to make such a scene? Yao Yao is more understanding than you. She wouldn't argue with me like this. Or are you trying to make me jealous through Jiang Qi? Let me tell you, that trick won't work on me. This is your last chance. If you don't come to my birthday party within 10 minutes, we're completely over. Looking at these messages, I felt no ripple of emotion in my heart, about to delete it. A large hand suddenly took the phone from behind. I turned around and was immediately lifted onto the kitchen island by Jiang Qi. After glancing at the content, Jiang Qi tossed the phone aside. With his hands planted on either side of me, his cheeks slightly flushed, he looked at me with a hint of annoyance. Choose him, or choose me. Jiang Qi was clearly drunk, his face bearing a childlike innocence never seen when sober, like a child vying for parents' affection. The phone rang. It was Wen Shuren calling again. Jiang Qi also saw it and tightened his grip on my hand. Suddenly, I felt a pang of pity for him, the president of Jiang Corporation, who could have any woman he wanted, yet he had secretly loved me for so many years. In the end, I kissed him on the cheek and said, I choose you. His eyes suddenly lit up as he reached out to embrace me. He buried his face in the crook of my neck, taking several deep breaths. Not enough. What? Just a kiss on the cheek isn't enough. After speaking, the man suddenly gripped my chin and fiercely kissed me. I seemed a bit drunk too, gradually starting to respond to him. Oh my God. The villain is such a good kisser. I feel like my legs are going weak. My mom asked why I was grinning so creepily, and I didn't dare tell her what I was watching. By the time I realized what was happening, the man had already lifted me by the waist and carried me step by step up the stairs into his room. Inside, there were indeed many photos of me. What's going on? Why did the screen go black as soon as we entered the room? As expected, the platform didn't let me down. Even though I'm a member, it still won't let me watch. I'm used to it by now. Woo woo, villain, you must not let the female supporting character off. Even without me, you two should love each other fiercely. Upstairs, you're quite the kind one, aren't you? The man placed me on the bed, his voice hoarse like gravel. Hee hee, is this okay? A scorching breath rushed towards me, as if my body was heating up along with it. In the haze of consciousness, I felt as if I nodded. What followed was an even more ferocious assault from the man. Hee hee, I'm suffering, help me. The man's voice was both seductive and deep, continuously uttering words that made one's heart race and cheeks flush. Step by step, he pulled me into the abyss that belonged solely to him, sinking together in its depths. When I woke up the next day, I felt as if my entire body was about to fall apart. In contrast, Jiang Qi looked completely refreshed and full of energy. I really don't know where this man gets his endless stamina from. He kept tossing me back and forth. The more I begged for mercy, the harsher he became. After Jiang Qi left, I picked up my phone and only then saw the message Wen Shuren had sent me at midnight. Suhi, you're something else. I'll make sure you regret this. I don't know what Wen Shuren would do to make me regret it, but soon, I learned from Chen Yu. He and Su Xinyao were planning to announce their engagement at Su Corporation's new product launch event. Jiang Qi glanced at me. Are you going? I raised an eyebrow. Go, why wouldn't I go? Perfect timing. I also have a big gift to give them. On the day, Jiang Qi and I arrived punctually at the Su family's new product launch event. Father Su's face darkened the moment he saw me. Su He, who gave you permission to come here? We didn't send you an invitation. Get out of here right now. I raised an eyebrow. President Su seems to have forgotten that I am the largest shareholder of the Su Group. Even without an invitation, I have every right to be here. When Wen Shuren saw me, a flicker of delight flashed across his face, but he quickly regained his cold demeanor. Su He, even if you kneel and beg me now, I won't change my mind. Su Chen and Mrs. Su also came over to warn me. If I dared to cause trouble today, none of them would acknowledge me. For a moment, I couldn't tell who was actually their biological daughter, but I ignored it and simply took Jiang Qi's arm as we entered the venue. Of course, I didn't miss the smug smile Su Xinyao flashed at me as we passed by. Before the press conference began, Mr. Su brought Wen Shuren and Su Xinyao onto the stage. They announced their engagement. Receiving many blessings from those present, I watched calmly from below the stage. When the real product launch event started, Father Su stepped onto the stage, ready to introduce to everyone. Suddenly, the large screen behind him lit up, gasps erupted from the audience. Father Su turned to look. What appeared on the screen was not the new product launch materials, but rather a series of evidence of his infidelity over the years. It turned out that Su Xinyao was never adopted. She was actually his illegitimate child with his mistress. Upon seeing this, both Su's mother and Su Chen turned pale. The content ended with a recording of Su Xinyao and her father. They mocked Su's mother and Su Chen as fools, completely fooled by their schemes. Because of their few words, even their own daughter and sister were disowned. Hearing this, Su's mother couldn't catch her breath and fainted on the spot. Su Chen quickly supported his mother, but his livid face showed how much he now hated Su Xinyao. At that moment, I walked straight onto the stage. The announcement of this press conference has been cancelled, and Su Weiguang, the general manager of Su's, and Su Xianyao are suspected of embezzling public funds. We have already reported this matter to the police. As soon as the words were spoken, Su's father and Su Xianyao were taken away by the police who had just arrived. Su Xianyao was still desperately clinging to Wen Shuren, hoping he would save her, but she was disgustedly pushed away by Wen Shuren. I stepped off the stage and noticed Jiang Qi was missing, so I went to look for him. Just then, Su Chen called out from behind me, "Sis, I'm sorry, we were all deceived by that bitch Su Xinyao. Can you forgive me and Mom?" I turned and glared at him coldly. Were you really deceived by Su Xinyao, or are you just worried that once I wake up, I'll fight you for the company? My words instantly drained the color from Su Chen's face. Actually, I'm not someone with grand ambitions. The only reason I've been working so hard is to protect Su Chen's family business. After all, a significant portion of Su Corporation's investments came from my grandfather, who only had Su Chen's mother as his daughter. I used to think that once Su Chen grew up, I'd hand over the company and shares to him, then happily travel the world myself. Looking back now, I realize how naive I was. Since they've always believed I'd take the shares, then I'll take them just to spite them. I told Su Chen that I would sell the Su family's shares and leave the other family assets to them, including the villa we currently live in. Consider it as retirement money for Su's mother. From now on, we will have no further relationship, and if we meet, we'll act as strangers. After saying this, I ignored everyone else and went straight to find Jiang Qi. I don't know why, but right now I really want to hug him. Finally saw him at the corner of the hallway, but then I overheard his conversation with Chen Yu. "President Jiang, the Su family has finally collapsed. Now all we need is to get the shares from Su He's hands." Jiang Qi took a drag of his cigarette and spoke slowly. "No rush. Su He hasn't completely let her guard down around me yet. Let's wait a little longer." I took a step back in disbelief. The surroundings gradually grew hazy. The system's voice chimed in. "Now you understand, right? No one will truly be good to you, only I will never abandon you. Come with me, Suhi, just like before, we'll be together every day. Gradually, I watched as my body slowly became transparent. Suddenly, I curled my lips into a smile. Xiao Tong, you're really underestimating me. Xiao Tong, that was my affectionate nickname for the system during those 3 years. I want to live, never for anyone else. My worth isn't defined by anyone else's validation, so no matter how many times you make me choose, I'll always choose to survive. Even if no one in this world loves me, at least I'll always love myself. My life will still be extraordinary. As the words fell, the surrounding mist dissipated, and my vision became clear once again. The first person I saw was Jiang Qi. There was unprecedented fear in the man's eyes as he rushed toward me without hesitation, pulling me tightly into his embrace. Clearly, he had seen me gradually turning transparent just moments before. The system's voice carried a hint of defeat. I lost. Those scenes just now were deliberately fabricated to deceive you. This man truly loves you. After saying this, the system completely vanished. I looked up at Jiang Qi and saw the man's eyes were already red. I stood on tiptoe and kissed his eyelids. Jiang Qi, have I ever told you? I think I've grown to like you very much. System perspective. I can't remember how many years I've been working on systems. I only recall seeing a woman covered in blood at the accident scene. I couldn't help but say, "Hey, you seem a little dead." After saying that, I turned to leave, but the woman's spirit clung to me desperately, begging me to save her. In the end, I brought her back and made her work for me under the table. She told me her name was Suhi. At first, I found her annoying. Gradually, I began to feel that having her around wasn't so bad. So I kept trying to keep her by my side forever, but in the real world, there was always a longing pulling her back. Helpless, I had no choice but to let her go. After all, they are sworn enemies. I'm confident that Suhi will soon return to me. I'm too lonely, but I noticed that Suhi seems to be growing fonder of that man, so I deliberately created a fake scenario to make them misunderstand each other. But in the end, I still lost. I didn't lose to that man, I lost to Suhi's own will. Strangely, my heart doesn't feel as heavy anymore. This seems to be the way Suhi should be. This is the Suhi I like. After hearing the two stories above, what are your thoughts? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments section. Looking forward to hearing from you. If you liked this story, don't forget to like it, share it, and subscribe to my channel. See you next time.